So, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. On behalf of the Turnpikes teams, I'd like to welcome you to our webinar on Extended ECM for Sales, or Extended ECM for CRM. The webinar that we are presenting here is going to basically consist of a chat between Tim Stuyven, who is the founder and CEO of Turnpikes, and myself. I'm sales director at Turnpikes. Before we kick off, of course, this webinar is meant for people who are actually using OpenText Extended ECM for CRM, whether that may be Salesforce or another CRM system. So typically sales managers or sales executives. In case you do have questions or comments, please use the Q&A tab and we will respond to those via email in due time. And last but not least, we'll record this webinar and distribute the contents afterwards. So Turnpikes was founded in 2015 by two ex-OpenText veterans. We are considered to be a premium OpenText Extended ECM and Vim implementation partner, and our team are mostly ex-OpenText consultants. Our company quite deliberately limits itself to OpenText Extended ECM to ensure fundamentally the highest possible level of expertise in this type of product and the related processes, like the ones we're going to be talking about today, which is Extended ECM for sales. And because of our history with OpenText, we maintain close ties with the OpenText organization itself, whether that be with the support or product management teams. We're also an OpenText reseller partner and an OpenText technology partner. Some of our add-on products can be found on the OpenText marketplace websites. We, as I mentioned before, we have two main pillars of activity. First one being services. That's still by far our biggest piece of the business, which is extended enterprise content management for a host of target applications like SAP, Salesforce, Office 365. And the second pillar of activities is based on on services for OpenText Vim. So that's basically an introduction. And Tim, if you want to briefly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Carl. Yes, so my name is Tim. I'm founder and CEO here at Turnpikes. So I had the pleasure to, assist many companies out there optimizing their, let's say, processes, compliance, security by handling with improved document management capabilities. So with that, Carl, I suggest would propose that we get started. Now, before I start, now you're in sales yourself. So how could improved document management help a sales professional like yourself?
Well, first of all, what do we mean with Extended ECM for enterprise content management? What we mean is basically a content management system that hooks into a CRM application. So Extended ECM for enterprise content management is basically a comprehensive solution that integrates enterprise content management capabilities within your CRM system, your customer relationship management system. So the advantages, if you look at it from the perspective of the sales representative, then the first advantage you will have gained is that you will have easy access to information within the CRM for a sales executive. It's going to be a lot quicker, a lot more convenient to access all relevant documents and content directly within the CRM interface. You can access customer contracts, proposals, product information, and other sales collateral without the need, and that's the important thing, without the need to switch between different systems or search for information externally. So it does streamline your work and save a lot of time as well. The second one is that you have a lot of improved collaboration. Sales representatives can collaborate a lot more effectively with the internal teams, for example, with the product managers or the legal departments, because all of those departments then are tied into this process, if you like. So it's very easy to share documents, to gather feedback, to track the progress of content-related tasks. The collaboration, of course, enhances efficiency and therefore also ensures that the sales team has access to up-to-date and accurate information. Last but not least, as an advantage for the sales executive, is the enhanced customer engagement, especially for sales. Of course, that's very, very relevant. And because of extended xECM for CRM or for sales, a sales rep now has access to comprehensive customer information and can view relevant documents related to customer interactions. And this, of course, helps them gain a lot deeper insights into customer needs, preferences, and history, allowing for more personalized and targeted sales conversations. So fundamentally, they can respond to customer inquiries promptly and deliver a far better customer experience. From a sales manager, so the managerial point of view, you have, of course, increased visibility into the content-related activities of your sales team, and that is seen through, for example, the possibility to track the document usage, to view the document version history, and to monitor the progress of content-related tasks. The other advantage is that the sales process in itself is then, of course, improved because of the fact that you have this capability to streamline the sales process. It's a lot easier to standardize workflows for example, document approval or contract approval, proposal generation. All of these workflows basically ensure a certain level of consistency and reduce a lot of errors, and of course save a lot of time as well. Then there is some enhanced reporting and analytics capabilities that comes along with extended xECM for CRM, where a sales manager is able to gather some level of insights and analytics by tracking document related metrics, essentially. So performance monitoring, of course, most of the performance monitoring is done through the CRM system itself, but still, sales manager can use extended xECM for sales to monitor the performance of their sales team regarding document usage, response time, and so on. So think of, for example, those documents that are being used a lot more than other documents that could be telling about the sales process in itself. So now that we talked about the sales bit of it, Tim, maybe you can talk a little bit about why there are disadvantages linked to uploading and storing documents in a CRM system.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Carl. Because what I hear you saying is that when you're in your sales job, you deal, let's say, with a lot of documents, content, files, emails. Yeah, so it's not just only, let's say, a phone call or some exchange of data with your prospect or your customer. There are a lot of documents that you're sharing, right? And what I hear you saying, the system will make it then easy that you basically log on to your CRM system, which you're used to every morning, as well as your email client, maybe your Outlook, your Office 365, and basically from there you have that total overview of the customer interaction. Now, and as you rightly point out, then let's say, why would we not just upload all these files and all these documents, into the CRM system itself? Because most of these applications have a kind of a file upload or document upload functionality, and there's a few reasons for that. Yeah. So first and foremost, let's say a CRM system is designed to deal, let's say, with data and the CRM, let's say, use cases. They are not designed to handle more advanced, content management functionality. Yeah, so what we would, let's say, bring with the extended xECM add-on is that full-blown functionality when it comes to document or file handling. Yeah, and that goes from a few of the points that you already mentioned: version control, access control, authorizations, tying into the security aspect, preventing data leakage, audit, etc., etc. So those are, let's say, the business benefits that will come on top of the simple, let's say, file upload that you would do on the CRM side. Next level of advantages, of course, from a more IT technical perspective. Yeah, it would, especially when there's big volumes and a certain size, it is not always a good idea, let's say, to load data or documents into databases that sit behind most of the cloud CRM systems. So sooner or later, I think performance might get a negative impact. And then the third, I would say, category of big benefit is by putting the content into a content management system, you're not limited anymore to access that content only from within your CRM system. Yeah, and that again ties and translates into quite a few benefits. First and foremost, I would argue, and what we see in our own customers is the sales process is typically the start of your customer engagement. Yeah, of course, you hope to win the business, which then leads to an order. But once the order arrives, you are obliged to either deliver the goods, ship the goods, or deliver the service, or start producing, what the customer has been ordering. So that basically means that from a business process perspective, there is a next step or a couple of next steps, and a very significant benefit is that in those following sales business processes, there are also people who, let's say, have a benefit of accessing the same content as you have been, let's say, exchanging and concluding on with your customer. Yeah, and if you put it, let's say, in an ECM system, then you can basically decouple it from your CRM system, and that same information is then available from ERP systems or other type of, let's say, supply chain type of related systems. So you're no longer, let's say, limited to the CRM. So you're avoiding whether it is production management or order handlers or billing people or, let's say, project managers. All of those personas are no longer needed to be given a read-only CRM license in order to go and find, let's say, that documentation. So that is a very important aspect. Another area where, let's say, the next level of intelligence comes into the picture is that you can have relationships between all of these, let's say, business objects in that business process. Yeah, you have your account. For your account, you have opportunities. If you do a job well, then those opportunities conclude into an order, into a one sales. And from there, you basically then have, let's say, relationships to the products and the goods. You have some after, let's say, sales service. You might have support, you might have damages, complaints, but all of it can be kind of tied together in one and the same system that is, on one hand, designed to handle that, and secondly is integrating very easily as a kind of a plug and play into those different leading applications. Yeah, and then you nicely have a flow that can start in your email client in Outlook, then go through the CRM system, and then finally end up with the end up in the ERP system, which could be SAP or Microsoft or any other ERP system.
There's another one which I found out about, Tim, which is that actually, because you're taking out the document management functionality outside of Salesforce or whatever other CRM that you're using, outside of it into your content management system, what you're also doing is you're decomplexifying the CRM system itself. Because what you're doing essentially is, like, once you start using it as a document management system, and there's also a question of vendor lock-in, because the more documents you put in there, the more processes you put in there, the less you are empowering your salespeople to actually share those documents and to share that knowledge with the people from outside of the sales department, or in the cases that you illustrated, the support departments, for example. So absolutely, it does. It becomes a lot more. I can never pronounce the name, ubiquitous. It basically means that it transcends all of the different departments within the organization itself. So maybe to come back to one other aspect is, because you've done quite a few of those implementations with customers, who you've seen also the happy faces of the salespeople now being able to add document management functionality to their sales process. What type of collaboration have you seen improved within those organizations? What specifically, what part of the collaboration has improved substantially?
There's two parts. Yeah, there's the internal collaboration, and then you have what we would call the external collaboration. Yeah, because again, in modern times, let's say with your external, whether it is customers or vendors or whoever else is involved in that process, are equally important in order to make it an efficient process. But let's park that one, the external side, for a while. Let's first look at it internally. Yes, so I mean, there's been no doubt, regardless whether you're in a very complex, regulated B2B environment, or you're in government, or in financial services, or even in the B2C, there are different, let's say, people, there are different roles involved in the sales process. And the search, and this doubt whether you are looking at the right version, let's say, of a document, is all, let's say, leading to additional delays and complexity. Yeah, and that is, I think, one of the clear, straight benefits is that nobody should be in doubt, because the thing they see in the system is known and is 100% sure to be, let's say, the last version, or the most active, let's say, relevant version, and that single, let's say, source of the truth. So that makes internal collaboration much easier. The second thing is, of course, the real-time collaboration aspect. Yeah, in the older days, people would start exchanging, say, digital content documents via email, but then you're no longer in real time. Yeah, so let's say you prepare, a good proposal, for a customer, and you send it to me for review and approval. If you send it to me by email, then I can only mark up in that document, have to have it downloaded, maybe do these changes locally, redline it, and then email it back to you. Yeah. Now, if you compare that simple use case with the fact that you will be working on the document that is in the ECM system, then you just ping me, either send the link or just say, listen, please review, or even better, as soon as a certain status in the system changes, it triggers a workflow that notifies me with a link, and I click on it. Then I go directly in the same document, in the same system. Yeah, I can do my redlining, my comments, and everything there. Yeah, because the fact that you have an ECM system, you still benefit from, let's say, the Office 365 capabilities, where you can go into a Microsoft Word document, use all the review options, add comments, and all of that.
Yeah.
So you're not limiting or restricting anything there. But I work real time, in the document. Yeah, so I don't need to, then save it, download, save it, change it, and then send it back to you. Yeah, and we can basically almost collaborate. Yeah, and we can both be at the same time in that document, if that would be relevant.
Okay.
So there's a lot of, let's say, benefits that are achieved, let's say, inside the organization. But I would say even, I will not say more importantly, but very beneficial as well, is the communication with the external. Yeah, because with external companies or parties, you can do exactly the same. Yeah, you regulate what kind of content and document that you are sharing with the outside world. You kind of control what kind of access the external person has to it, and you can do exactly the same. Yeah, rather than sending emails with attachments, you could basically be collaborating on the same document. Yeah, once everything is done and ready for signature, then of course you basically benefit from electronic signature capabilities, so that again nobody needs to download or print or scan or use some cumbersome click and upload functionalities. You just go with an electronic signature, which is functionality that's embedded in the solution as well.
All right, thank you. So we've talked about the advantages for sales reps, sales managers. Just to wrap up this chat that we are having, could you just sum up like what you see as the main advantages of extended ECM for CRM, or extended ECM for sales?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it also has to be having a very, very good business case. Yeah. I mean, the two most obvious components and benefits for an organization is, on one hand, top line, yeah, so the revenue, increased revenue, and on the other hand, let's say, the cost savings. Now, how do we get into, let's say, increased revenue and a better top line? I believe, from the examples that we've been giving, where the whole, let's say, sales process, starting from the sales reps, but also everything around it, if that process is optimized, it will mean that it goes quicker, which basically means that, with the sales, with the same sales force and the same sales team, increased revenue can be achieved. Yeah, so that's how it will benefit to the top line. On the bottom line, in terms of cost savings, there's a few aspects. Yeah, we've talked about saving license. Yeah, so the CRM licenses are typically not the cheapest type of licenses, and that kind of read-only occasional access you can basically avoid by making sure that the content sits in the ECM layer, and that license is more cost efficient than it would be for the full-blown, let's say, or the CRM license. So there's definitely a cost saving there. Then you have, let's say, IT-related costs in terms of, let's say, the storage, whether cloud or on-premise, to have more efficient capabilities there. And the third aspect, which is very important, is this time savings. Because maybe you want to measure your salespeople on the top revenue side, but many of the supporting, the back office functions, whether it is from the legal colleagues or the billing people, the administration, etc., that's basically where time savings come into play and are an important part of the business case as well.
I think one really important, because you pointed out to the improvement in the process and the sales process as a whole, and not just the acquisition, but also the after service, let's say. And having been in sales for quite a bit myself, one of the really important aspects, I would say, of this application is the fact that you're also improving the customer experience quite a bit. That it makes it a lot smoother, a lot easier for the customer as well to to go along with your company. Now,
Absolutely.
we've talked about the
if you're transparent to the customer and you're fast and agile, and flexible, you're definitely scoring points, no doubt about that.
So those are the obvious benefits. What would you say, like, for example, compliance or security, those are maybe a little bit less obvious, and those are probably more present in other applications. What would you say in this case?
Yeah, from a less obvious perspective, but nonetheless, maybe at least as important, if not more important, is first and foremost everything around compliance. Now, compliance is often not very sexy to talk about, but depending where in, let's say, the world you are and you're operating, you are subject to rules and regulations. In the EU, GDPR is probably the most known in the meanwhile, but there are tons of regulations, where you need to comply to. And the cost of being non-compliant is very difficult to quantify upfront. Before the disaster happens, it's sometimes very much unknown. But I believe that GDPR has also created the awareness, let's say, with decision makers and executives and directors in organizations, that the fines associated to it, so the cost of being non-compliant, can be very high and very significant. So definitely, let's say, implementing a proper ECM system will, let's say, help by mitigating the risk of being non-compliant. That's one aspect. The other, maybe less obvious, is everything around security. Because you want, as an organization, you need to be in control of all the digital content. Again, whether it's an email or it's a chat or it's files, documents, Excel sheets, spreadsheets, etc. You actually, are obliged to yourself as an organization to be in control of that. And the security aspect is very, very important. So again, the ECM system allows you to have control on it. You have the access control, you have full audit and logging. So basically, you have full traceability on what content has been shared with whom and accessed by whom at which point in time, and what the person has done with it. Has it only been opening for viewing it, or has the person been, downloading a document or a mass of documents, etc. So everything around the security aspect, preventing data leakage. Again, especially tying it back to the sales process itself, you're dealing with sensitive information. Your pricing, your customer data, your customer interaction. That is not the type of information that you would want to put at risk. So that's also a very important, though sometimes less obvious benefit of investing in this type of solution.
All right. So basically, in a nutshell, I think we can conclude that xECM for CRM brings together the power of content management and adds it to your CRM system. And that basically enhances the productivity, the collaboration, but also the compliance, as you just mentioned. And of course, also, very important, the customer experience. So in a nutshell, it helps organizations streamline their content-related processes, and also by that leverage the full potential of their CRM and use it really as a comprehensive customer engagement platform. Tim, I want to thank you very, very much for this chat. I've learned a lot. I hope you've learned a little bit yourself, and I want to thank everybody who followed this chat, is listening to this chat, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us via email or via the Q&A box here. Thank you very much and have a nice day.